Welcome back to our channel. Brace yourselves, because the latest developments in Beyond the Gates are plunging every relationship into an unprecedented spiral of tension. As long-buried secrets resurface, the characters can no longer easily hide their true intentions. In the storylines revealed for the week of August 17th, the conflict between Naomi and Tomas continues to escalate, with neither side showing any signs of backing down. Their ongoing clash only complicates matters further, triggering unforeseen consequences. Meanwhile, Andre is haunted by his past, forced to confront the very things he had tried to leave behind. But that isn't the most shocking secret of all. Vernon is demanding a clear explanation from Bill regarding Donnie, and his pointed questions may leave Bill with nowhere left to hide. Even more notably, the identity of the woman behind the mysterious messages and the expensive bottle of champagne has finally been confirmed. Just as we suspected, it is Heather Joey's sister. So what does Heather really want? Why has she suddenly appeared and targeted Andre? And will the confrontation between Naomi and Tomas spiral further out of control? Let's dive into the latest twists in Beyond the Gates, as this week promises to reveal even more secrets. I'm about to sound like a madman, but let me hear it anyway. We need to talk about the entire Beyond the Gate situation, and honestly, my brain is just jumping everywhere right now trying to process all these interconnected character arcs. Actually, I'm not sure I understand correctly, but the situation between Naomi and Tomas is completely spiraling out of control. And it feels like we are watching a textbook case of survival psychology analysis playing out in real time. They literally cannot be in the same room together without it turning into a toxic, suffocating battleground. And it's not just in a cute, rivalrous banter kind of way. It is a profound clash of massive egos and deep insecurities. Naomi has explicitly told Tomas, over and over again, that she has absolutely no desire to replace Bill. She doesn't want the throne. She has made her boundaries incredibly clear. Yet, Tomas is completely ignoring her words. He just keeps provoking her, refusing to back down, acting like a cornered animal lashing out at a shadow. He has somehow self-anointed himself as Bill's rightful successor. Wait, actually, and no, hold on a minute. Let me explain why this is important. Tomas hasn't even been a partner for a full year. How does someone with less than 12 months of seniority genuinely believe they are entitled to the entire kingdom? Maybe I'm connecting unrelated things, but this level of delusion speaks to a massive moral collapse within his character. He is operating out of pure fear and despair, trying to secure a position he hasn't earned because he knows, deep down, that Bill has a daughter, Naomi, who could effortlessly step into that role if she simply chose to do so. But she doesn't want to, so why is Tomas treating her like the ultimate threat? I have a theory, but I don't really believe it myself. What if Tomas is intentionally provoking Naomi, pushing her buttons so relentlessly, precisely because he actually wants her to change her mind? I mean, not exactly, but something like that. If he forces her hand, maybe she engages in the corporate war and he can defeat her on his own terms to legitimize his succession. Or maybe not. I don't know. Everything makes sense until I think about it for another 10 seconds. Okay, wait a minute. Let me say it again. Tomas views Naomi as a threat because his own power is entirely theoretical right now. If Bill were to suddenly face a catastrophic event, an apocalypse of sorts, whether symbolic, man-made, or cyclical in the corporate sense, who would take over? If Bill declared Naomi as his most trusted confidant, Tomas would lose absolutely everything. The power struggles here are incredible. And then there is Kot. Kot is right there in the middle of this crossfire, but she isn't lifting a single finger to help Tomas eliminate Naomi as a threat. That has to mean something, right? Is Tomas going to drag Kot into this war against her will? Actually, forget that part. I need to look at the broader picture of what Kot is doing outside of this specific office dynamic. Actually, no. I should have mentioned that earlier. Kot's involvement isn't just about Tomas. It bleeds directly into her work at Fairmont Crest with Chelsea. Chelsea and Cod are mixing fashion with controversy, and this practically guarantees they are going to find themselves in deep, deep trouble again. Can they actually collaborate without it devolving into a massive, screaming argument? I highly doubt it. A tiny, seemingly insignificant disagreement about a fabric choice or a PR rollout could easily reignite their old, bitter feuds. Maybe I'm overthinking, but listen, what if Cod is internalizing the immense pressure from the Naomi and Tomas war and subconsciously projecting that intense frustration onto Chelsea? It's a classic displacement of fear. She can't control the corporate succession bloodbath happening with Bill's legacy, so she micromanages and fights with Chelsea over fashion lines to regain a semblance of control. What am I saying? Oh, right, the main point. Anyway, the main point is wait. What is the main point? Right, the secrets, the hidden warnings. We absolutely have to talk about Andre. Poor, terrified Andre at the DMV. Of all the places for your dark past to suddenly catch up with you, the Department of Motor Vehicles has to be the absolute worst, most mundane setting possible. It is a brilliant use of changing environments to create psychological horror. He is just standing there in this sterile, bureaucratic purgatory, and suddenly he notices that mysterious bottle of champagne. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I noticed the label on that bottle seemed slightly obscured, almost like a deliberate visual cue warning us of impending doom. And then the cryptic text messages start flooding his phone. You can visibly see the survival psychology kicking in as his face completely drains of color. He knows his life is about to be turned upside down. And then we get to that Friday, August 14th episode. He is lured into this mysterious rendezvous. He walks in, completely filled with despair and dread. And who is standing there? Heather Armstrong. She's absolutely thrilled to see him. She is glowing, practically vibrating with joy and nostalgia. But Andre looks like he has just seen a ghost holding a loaded weapon. His expression is pure, unadulterated terror. Why is Heather so profoundly happy while Andre is in a state of complete, paralyzing panic? Okay, I know I just said the opposite, but listen to me. Maybe Heather doesn't actually know she's the villain in his story. Maybe to her, their past together is a beautiful, cherished memory, but to Andre, it is a cyclical nightmare that threatens to destroy his entire current reality. But that doesn't explain why the champagne was sent anonymously in the first place. Was it even Heather who sent the mysterious champagne to the DMV? Were those strange, cryptic texts actually from her? Or is there a third party manipulating them both like pawns in a sick, twisted game? Andre is now dragging this massive, heavy secret into his marriage with Donnie. Monday rolls around, and he is firmly anchored by this dark past. Will he confess to Donnie before it is too late? Or will he continue to lie, building a massive fortress of deception to protect his secret? If Donnie somehow stumbles upon the truth, if she catches him meeting with Heather in secret, there is absolutely no way she will believe whatever frantic, half-baked explanation he scrambles to put together. Does Heather have a hidden agenda? Is she going to deliberately approach Donnie just to force Andre's hand and blow up his life? Speaking of Donnie, her life is already a complicated, exhausting mess of interpersonal tension. Recently, she found herself in a deeply uncomfortable situation at the country club. Her entire family basically cornered her, interrogating her relentlessly about her feelings for Bill. She kept insisting, over and over again, that she and Bill are just friends, nothing more. Just friends. But she is defending herself so aggressively that it feels suspicious. Her family clearly doesn't buy it. And honestly, neither do I. There is a lingering, unresolved energy there that feels like a ticking time bomb waiting to detonate. And Donnie's reassurances were absolutely not enough to stop her father, Vernon, from taking matters into his own hands. The retired senator decides to pay Bill a personal, highly intimidating visit. This is where the power dynamics get really fascinating and downright dangerous. Vernon is a man accustomed to wielding absolute authority, and he is stepping directly into Bill's territory to lay down the law. You have to wonder, during this tense conversation, does the retired senator outright confront Bill about his true intentions toward Donnie? Vernon clearly remembers the painful past. He doesn't want his daughter to be broken and humiliated by her ex all over again. He is acting as the ultimate protector, but in doing so, he might just be accelerating the very conflict he is desperately trying to prevent. Wait, this connects to the first scene. Think about Jacob and the plasma ring investigation. I know, it sounds crazy, but the thematic parallels are absolutely undeniable. Jacob is getting physically battered, hiding in building elevators to meet Grayson because his own contact, Ren, turned on him and beat him mercilessly in a warehouse. It's all about the terrifying consequences of digging up things that are supposed to stay buried. Andre is digging up his past with Heather, just like Jacob dug too deep into the plasma ring and paid the price in blood and extreme paranoia. And Martin. Think about Martin sitting with his mother, Nicole, innocently asking about taking on a bigger project after his campaign ends, while Nicole immediately senses the danger. "What are you going to do, Martin?" she asks, her voice dripping with suspicion. It's the exact same maternal and paternal intuition that Vernon is showing with Donnie and Bill. Nicole knows Martin is hiding a massive, disruptive ambition, just like Vernon knows Bill might be hiding his true romantic intentions, and just like Tomas is hiding his true, desperate reasons for targeting Naomi. Everything is connected through this overarching theme of concealed ambitions and inevitable, crushing betrayals. The entire narrative structure we are analyzing is essentially a masterclass study in moral collapse. Every single character is guarding a secret that has the potential to cause an absolute apocalypse in their personal and professional lives. Naomi is guarding her true capabilities, refusing to step up to the plate, which ironically makes her a much bigger target for predators like Tomas. Tomas is guarding his deep-seated feelings of inadequacy, masking his incompetence with aggressive, unearned entitlement. Andre is guarding whatever horrific or shameful thing happened with Heather Armstrong, terrified that his beautiful, fragile current life with Donnie will disintegrate into dust. Let's circle back to Naomi and Tomas for a second because my brain just won't let this specific dynamic go. What if Bill actually does have a sudden health crisis? The recurring imagery of the gate in this storyline, whether it's the physical boardroom doors they argue behind or the metaphorical threshold of corporate succession, suggests that once a line is crossed, there is absolutely no going back. If Bill falls ill or is incapacitated, Naomi might suddenly step up, not because she craves the power or the title, but strictly to protect her father's hard-built legacy from Tomas's greedy, inexperienced hands. How would Tomas react to that? He would completely lose his mind. The corporate war would escalate overnight from passive-aggressive boardroom snipes to a full-blown, scorched-earth battle for total control. He would absolutely try to drag Kot into the mud with him, forcing her to choose sides in a war she never wanted a part of. And Andre, I just can't stop thinking about that champagne bottle. It is such a bizarre, hyper-specific object to use as an instrument of psychological terror. Usually, a bottle of champagne symbolizes celebration, victory, a joyful new beginning. But here, the imagery is completely inverted. It represents the death of his peace of mind. It's a brilliant, terrifying use of changing environments, taking a mundane, soul-crushing setting like the DMV, a place of pure bureaucratic boredom, and injecting it with a symbol of high-class, targeted psychological warfare. Andre's unusual behavior afterward, the way he constantly jumps at shadows, the way he obsessively looks at his phone waiting for the next cryptic strike. It's all building towards a massive, unavoidable confrontation. If Heather isn't the one actively torturing him with these messages, then who is? Is there a phantom player in this game that we haven't even seen yet? I mean, the more I think about it, the more I realize that every single character is standing right on the edge of a massive precipice. Chelsea and Kot's fashion disputes are just microcosms of the larger, more destructive wars being fought around them. Vernon confronting Bill is a preemptive strike in a romantic war that Donnie doesn't even realize she's fighting yet. It's all so incredibly dense, layered, and utterly exhausting to process. I'm physically exhausted just trying to piece all these fragmented clues together. But that's the beauty of this kind of storytelling, isn't it? The constant guessing, the endless, spiraling theories. Maybe I'm completely wrong about all of this. Maybe Tomas just genuinely hates Naomi's work ethic and there's no deeper psychological meaning. Maybe Heather just wanted to say hi to an old friend and the champagne was a total coincidence. But honestly, I highly doubt it. There is a massive storm coming, and not everyone is going to survive the fallout when the gate finally opens.